We darken the lips, dark brown with shades of navy blue in. Again, all signs of life have left at this point, and we're just adding different colors to show further deterioration of the skin. Here I'm using a lighter brown to highlight the peaks of the wound to create more depth. So I'm using a sponge so I get broader coverage. Again, I'm just touching down on the high spots. Now I'm going in with a brush to add more texture and separation into the lower areas. And on the nose, I'm coloring the dark pits, again, to make the nose look more rotting. Stage 4, Advanced Decomposition. And this is the beginning of Stage 4 and the final look of our zombie. What I'm doing here is blocking out his eyebrows with Prozac paste to flatten it down, because our next step is to add latex to the skin to make it wrinkly and more aged looking. So you don't want the latex to stick to the eyebrows, so you have to mat them first. Here I'm applying a layer of latex over the eyebrow and all over the eye. You work in small sections and then you dry them. While stretching the skin, you're going to need an assistant to help you, and between 3 and 4 layers should do it. And you can already see the wrinkles starting to appear. This is phase 1 in a very long process. Once the eye's done, you do the forehead, cheek. Here we are doing the mouth. Any skin around the wounds that are exposed have to be covered in a layer of rubber or liquid latex. When you stretch the skin and it contracts as you're drying, it pulls the skin into a tight wrinkle pattern, as you can see in the cheeks and around the eyes. Having the actor inflate his cheeks means you don't have to handle them as much and saves you from disturbing the wounds on the side of the face. If you want to do the neck, you can do it all in one piece. You have the actor recline like this, cover the entire neck area in a layer of liquid latex, and then dry it. Do it about 4 times, and then they can sit up. Remind the actor not to move their head around a lot, because if they do, the latex will stick to itself and pucker your work and make a mess of it. Considering this is a zombie, that might not be such a bad thing, but still, you want them to be aware of what you're doing and work with you, not against you. The next step is to take gelatin. You warm it in the microwave for a couple minutes. Test it on your wrist. If it burns you, do not apply it to the actor. When it's cool enough to put on your skin, then you can tolerate it. Then brush a coat over the latex, going in one general direction, and you have to cover everything, even the eyelid. What this does is add weight to the skin, and it gives you the impression that the skin is starting to separate and getting heavy and starting to slough off. Cover everything, even the broken collarbone. Again, because we used the alcohol-based Temp 2 paint, the color isn't transferring to the gelatin. Now, once the gelatin sets, and it sets really quickly, for your final coat, you brush a layer of latex all over the gelatin to seal it, and it helps blend into any latex that may have been missed and exposed, and it also adds another layer of texture to your work and helps finish that look of weight and that the skin is deteriorating and breaking down. Again, by using a chip brush and brushing in one direction, you're creating all sorts of little pits and invisible texture that will come out when we start to stain the surface. And the final, start painting. By using washes of yellows and browns, again, he's rotten and probably been dead for a week or two. You pull out all the texture. Here we're basing our layers of latex and gelatin and having it more runny so that the colors actually fall into all the pits and texture. And then once you have your base color down, as I'm doing now, I'm going with a darker color, a darker brown, to pull out more and more of that texture. Now I'm using a flick brush to show where he might have been eating old dried blood around the mouth. Again, this would be the closest to any blood color that would be added to the zombie because they do not bleed, so there should be no fresh blood coming out of any wounds. What we do use for blood is instant coffee with water, and we make coffee blood, and that's what I'm applying now, oozing from his nose, his ear holes, applying it to his mouth, and again, it would be remnants of old meals and other victims that he's attacked and turned into zombies as well. Any wounds or pits that you put in his face that you want to accent and look like they're weeping, it leaves a great yellow stain behind when you spritz with a little water or touch with water after. And again, it just adds to the putrefaction. Dress some in around the broken collarbone as well. Because at this point, his whole system's breaking down and rotting. Here we're even sinking the eyes deeper, accenting those dark browns, trying to pull out more of the skeletal features. I used aquacolor paints for around the eyes at this point to try not to get alcohol in his eyes. And there you have it. This is the final stage of a 4-week-old rotting zombie.